Miss Rosalind. Welcome back to my garden. Today, I thought we would just come out here and walk through the garden because there's some pretty things that are in bloom right now. I'm also right in the middle of getting all my summer annuals planted. So there's parts of the garden that aren't planted yet, as well as there's parts of the garden that aren't mulched, and there's some weeds in there. So you will get to see the good and the bad in the garden today. We'll start out here in the cut flower / vegetable garden because there's some fun things that have started blooming. Back there, I have something fun that I want to show you, but we'll kind of walk around the garden and then we'll come around the back because I really want to show that to you. The pin cushions have just started blooming, as well as the yarrow. And over here, you see that some of the plants are kind of blown around. The last 2 days we've had very strong winds and it's just kind of blown everything around. There's a David Austin rose that has just started blooming, and I honestly can't think of the name right now. It has a bright pink bloom with kind of a smaller flower. The tulips are almost ready to be cut back. The alliums are just done blooming. And over here, is that Amsonia? I think that's what it's called, with the blue flowers back there. But this is more of a single petaled rose that I picked up at Menards a few years ago, but I just love the flower, and it gives these beautiful orange rose hips in the fall. There's a grass in front. Now I've been harvesting from my peonies for customer bouquet orders, so they don't have a whole lot of flowers on them, but the Sarah Bernhardt has just been going very strong right now. And the clematis, oh my goodness, it's just getting ready to burst into bloom, and this thing is going crazy this year. I really need to come in here and kind of tie it up a little bit. So over here is just another Sarah Bernhardt peony, and these lilies back here, I planted them a few years ago, and it's the first season that they've actually put some buds on, and I think it's going to bloom. I'm really excited to see that. There's some more Amsonia. And over here, the oriental poppies have just started coming into bloom. I love this salmon colored oriental poppy. There's some more penstemon in here, backed up by a hydrangea. This is is it a firelight hydrangea? And we have a crabapple in the background. And then I have some creeping phlox in the front. Over here, there's some more peonies that are just going out of bloom. I got this one from my mom, so I'm honestly not sure what it's called, but it's a very pretty peony. I usually don't use it in cut flower arrangements. I just kind of have it in here for the beauty of it. We have a lemon lacy elderberry, and over here, now the wind has completely knocked the daffodil patch flat to the ground, but that will be ready to be cut back in a few weeks anyhow. But this is a festiva, I think that's what you call it, peony. So it's just still a young plant. I haven't harvested from it this year because it didn't really have big blooms yet. And then we have is it called Madam peony? It's just getting ready to go out of bloom. This was the first year that I had white alliums in the garden. So they're almost done blooming. They're mostly looking green right now, but that was something fun that was new to me in the garden. There's some baptisia in front of that. The coral sunset peony is pretty much done blooming as well, but oh my goodness, that is a gorgeous color to have in the garden. The iris, I think it's called Angel's Rest iris. You can see this is pretty much done blooming, but oh my word, that is such a beautiful soft color. I love using that in cut flower arrangements. The dianthus has just started blooming. And over here is some more of the, I think it's called Madam peony, but it is a very beautiful white bloom. And oh my goodness, it smells so good. This is a peony that I got at Menards a few years ago. So I'm not sure what it's actually called, but it said red peony on the tag. And that's all the information it had, but it's very, very beautiful. And this baptisia is a little bit more mature. I just love this plant in the late spring garden. The viburnum is ready to get we're getting ready to burst into bloom. The baby Joe Pieweed is just starting to bloom as well. And the tiny wine 9 bark is almost done blooming, but oh my goodness, those blooms are so much fun. And over here, you might remember that I had my greenhouse up on the patio this past winter and spring to grow all my hardy annuals in. So I've moved this frame out into the cut flower garden, and I'm growing some vining beans on it for the boys, so they have like a little garden room to play in. They love to come out here with their dinosaurs and play in the garden, so I thought that would be something fun for them. The cut flower garden is pretty much done being planted. There's a few things I still need to get in there. The fairy garden needs to get its summer annuals planted in there. And then I have another baby Sarah Bernhardt peony in there. The tulips, as you can see, really need to be cut back. Over here in the chicken coop garden, this garden needs attention, but my plans are to come in here and make this completely into an edible garden. Right now I have some herbs and some garlic planted in there. I have a few berry bushes, but I want to come in here with some summer annuals that has like an edible flower on it. So like I said, I just want it to be completely an edible garden. And then we have a sensation honeysuckle. This is a non-invasive honeysuckle, but it is totally covered in blooms right now. This container in front of the chicken coop, I need to get that tree taken out of there and get some summer annuals planted in there. I think we'll walk around the backside of this garden because there's a mama bird sitting in there with her eggs. Can you see her head poking out of there? So we have some strawberries that are almost ready to be picked. And then our great barber. Oops, I think the mama bird just flew out. So around here, I am so excited about this. Remember last fall when I came in here, actually it was back in December, and I just put down some cardboard, some mulch, and covered it with plastic. That grass is completely killed off, and I planted some sunflowers in here. So that's why I put that little bistro set back there. It'll be so much fun having all of those sunflowers bloom and just sitting there with a cup of coffee at that little table. So over here, I have another David Austin rose. This one is called Litchfield Angel. Look at that color. We have some lupin that are in bloom over here, and some David garden flax are just starting to bloom. I have some baby iris planted around that didn't bloom this year yet. And then there's just some flax that have just started blooming. The salvia, this is a pink fuchsia salvia. I planted it in here last night because I thought it needed a little pop of color, and it's something that the hummingbirds really love. This oriental poppy is pretty much done blooming. We have some bee balm that will bloom later in the summer, and the yellow yarrow. So there's nothing really that is blooming back here right now, but I just have to show you this. Like if you turn back, can you imagine sitting here this summer and all of the sunflowers are in bloom, the grape arbor in the background, the chickens pecking in the grass back there. Oh my goodness, I think it'll be a beautiful picnic spot. So I need to come in here and get those window boxes planted up, and then just a few annuals planted around the flower beds. The boys are out here playing with their dinosaurs and some rocks. But back here I have a few plants that I got at the garden center the other day that will go out into the new cut flower garden. There's a David Austin rose in there. Oh my goodness. There's some fun things. So I actually had this whole cement slab covered with plants that need to get into the ground and into containers. But I moved it into the garage so it wouldn't be an eyesore for you guys. But there is some fun things that have started blooming in here. Look at the foxglove. I had started all of these from seed, and now they're just kind of seeding themselves around. It's so pretty. This morning I saw a bumblebee in there. This is a foam flower, and it's almost done blooming, but it has these sweet little, I don't know, kind of airy looking flowers. And I've planted some begonias around in here. There is some perennial dusty miller right in here. And the lamium has started blooming. Look at that. And the candy tuft is almost done blooming. There's some columbine and some foxglove blooming back in here. And the clematis usually blooms around July. So that is always pretty to see. There's some more foxglove and some hostas in here. I'm hoping that this summer the hostas will actually grow tall enough that they'll kind of block all of that hideous looking stuff. I did plant some impatiens, some double impatiens in here, and some baby geraniums that I had started from seed. Over here, there's some hostas and a stilbe. And this year I decided I'm just going to pop in some waxwing begonias just here and there around the patio garden. The coral bells, oh my goodness, look at those sweet blooms. The hummingbirds have been enjoying those. And it's backed up by a stilbe, and behind the stilbe is some foxglove that seated themselves there. Aren't those gorgeous? And then we have some more coral bells around the front. This is a My Monet Weigela. Is that what you call it? But it's a variegated Weigela, and it gets these hot pink flowers in the spring. You can still see some of them on there. Last week in a video, I planted all the containers that you see up here on the deck. But yesterday I came out here and I planted up these containers on the patio. And you might remember I had the little greenhouse back there in that corner. We have the swing up now. There's some summer planters hanging there. It looks a lot better. But I found this white salvia for these containers. And I didn't know like if the pollinators would like them, like since they don't have any color. But this morning I saw some bumblebees on there. So I'm very excited about that salvia. We spend a lot of time out here on the patio in the summer. Over here on this side of the deck, we have another Weigela. There's some grass, hydrangeas, and down here at the end, there is an At Last rose. This one is from Proven Winners. And I did not come in here yet to cut back the canes from last year. Just look at that flower. And right beside the rose, there's another coral bell. But oh my goodness, look at those flowers. Now, this flower bed is the one that I've been trying to expand for a few weeks now. And I need to come in here and get the cardboard laid down and get it mulched. But back here, oh my goodness, these layers, I'm just loving the colors and the layers in here. And this year, the plants are actually growing tall enough that it's going to kind of hide that window back there. But oh, love this area. All right, let's head around to the front of the house and to the new cut flower garden. Up here in front of the garage, I still have my spring containers in here, but do you remember how tiny those plants were when I first planted them? Look how much they've grown. But I really think these arborvitaes are ready to get out of the container and into the ground. Over here, there is, I'm trying to think, I think this is called Snow in Summer. I'm not sure if I like this plant. Like, I love those beautiful flowers, but it just kind of lays flat in the middle. And I planted it in here just last summer. So I don't know. The violas are still going strong in that little container. Over here, you can see all of my summer annuals that I want to plant around the front. Give you a sneak peek of the color theme that we'll have up here. I have a geranium planted up there and a miniature lilac that I need to get planted out into the garden. And around the front of the porch, actually first, I want to show you these violas. Do you see those? They just seeded themselves around from last spring, but they're so sweet. I love the pop of color. I can't get myself to pull them, but we have some daffodils that we'll be cutting back in a few weeks. I want to let the foliage yellow a little bit more. There's a white creeping phlox right there. This tulip foliage has not died back yet, but I planted another Snow in Summer in front. This one isn't quite as big, so it looks very pretty. And the salvia, oh my goodness, it is in full bloom. And do you see those honeybees on there? I have some yellow evergreens that are at each end of this bed. There's some more salvia. The knockout roses are looking so pretty. And then I have some ferns hanging along the front of the porch. Those poor evergreens, they really need to get out of their containers. I want to plant some ferns in there. So another knockout rose. And that is pretty much all that is in this bed. Some of you might remember that last fall we started a new cut flower garden out here in the front as a no-dig garden. We just laid cardboard and mulch on top of it, or compost I should say. And this spring I didn't get around to mulching it and the weeds started going crazy. So last week we did come in here and till a little bit, and Harley has mulched everything and it's looking so much better. There is still some weeds in here. I just need to keep at it this summer and get these weeds under control. So all of these trees that you see, they're all fruit trees. Look at this cherry tree. It is covered, I don't know if you can see it, but it's covered in cherries right now. And some of them are starting to turn, so I'm hoping I get to it before the birds do. There's really nothing in bloom right now. We are going to get in here this summer sometime, get the pathways done, and put some edgers in. I want to put a little bench back there under the apple tree. Probably have to cut a few branches off of there to make that happen. But this garden is going to be a lot of fun to develop this summer. We do have some fun projects planned for the gardens this summer that I'm excited to share with you, but it just takes time to get there, you know, especially this time of year. There's a lot to do in the gardens with spring work and getting everything planted, but we'll get there. Thank you so much for walking through the gardens with me today, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it inspired you. Have an amazing week, and I will see you right back here next Saturday. Bye.